So everyone meet Ibu Dinny. She's in a village somewhere in you're in Toraja now, right, Ibu Dinny?
Yeah, just across the strait from KK, I guess. Not too far. Across Sulawesi Strait.
So Ibu
Uh,
Dini is an Ashoka Fellow who's achieved all kinds of great things. He works with more than 1,000 weavers, uh, creating livelihoods with a line called Toraja Mellow, which sort of updates or can contemporarizes their weavings into a line of fashion, sustainable fashion, slow fashion. And it's about livelihoods, it's about poverty, it's about culture, it's about migration, so that Indian women do not leave their villages for work, but stay within their villages and revive their traditional weavings. Um, I know she's a Renaissance woman who's uh, deeply thoughtful about everything, including systems. So, which is why we invited her to chat with us today. Ibu Dini, I don't want to speak for you because I know you have plenty to share with us. Tell us about yourself, about Toraja Mello, why you founded it, the women that you work with,
uh,
the issue of, you know, the issues you grapple with.
so I always introduce myself as a mother, wife, and dreamer because I'm a mother of two adult children. They're all in Australia. So I'm quite sad actually because I haven't seen them for almost 2 years, but they're okay. So that's the most important thing. I live in Toraja in the mountains with my husband. This is my husband's village, Toraja in the mountains. Yeah, so we are about 1,500 meters above sea level. We are above the clouds. It's quite cold now. And I'm a dreamer because I always dream. I've been dreaming about a better Indonesia, so to speak. Yeah, I love Indonesia very much. Uh, and that's one of the reasons that make my mother sad because she left to migrate to America and I stayed in Indonesia. But that's another story. What have I been doing? And Cynthia, maybe you can poke me, okay, now and then, what I should share or what I should talk about. Basically, why I'm here in Toraja was like in 2000 and at the end of 2007, beginning of 2008. I actually wanted to retire. I was working as the Secretary General for National Commission on Anti-Violence Against Women in Jakarta. That was a national commission established by the president uh, in the aftermath of May riots, where many Chinese women were raped and killed in Jakarta in 1998. I don't know if you are aware of that. So that's one of the bloodiest things that ever happened to Indonesia. We have many bloody events, as you know. So I was Secretary General, and then at the end of 2007, actually, I was burned out because as a Secretary General, I had to travel, and I met women who have faced all layers of violence, from domestic violence, community law violence, religious violence, state violence. And I sort of like felt like enough. And with that, I asked my husband if he could build me a house in his village, and I just want to read and write in Toraja, which is in Sulawesi Island. Um, while we are building the house, I get to take because I love hiking. I walk around my village in Batu Tumonga, it's called. And oh, this is actually connected to Kota Kinabalu. Come to think of it, um, as I walk around in the villages among the bamboo groves near the rice field, I saw so many Chinese-looking babies. And so I'm also half Chinese. My father is from Java. He's a native Indonesian, or pribumi, you call it. My mother is Chinese. So many of the babies look like me. And I was wondering, how come so many Chinese babies in the middle of like Toraja villages? And then the answer that surprised me was like, yeah, because the fathers are Chinese. And I said, what? Forgive me, yeah, but I'm telling the truth here. And they said that the fathers are Malaysian Chinese, because many of Torajanese women work in Sabah, Sarawak, Kota Kinabalu, and one way or the other, they got pregnant, but they have to come back to the village because they said they cannot get IC. So I didn't know at that time what IC was. So apparently it's identity card, yeah. So that's why because they need money, they come home, give birth to the babies, and then they went back to work in Kalimantan and in Malaysia, the Borneo Island. So that's the information I got. And at the same time, on the other village, there were like many weavers, but they're old and nobody was buying. So actually, I put two and two together, and I thought, wow, if help, um, I could help Torajanese women to stay home and make money from weaving. I think there will be something that I could do. I thought it was a simple thing to do. So I started doing that on my own in 2008. I went up and down the villages to find the old women, old weavers, to try to make them teach the young weavers. So that's how we started in 2008. I was on my own. And then my sister, who is a fashion designer uh, uh, from California, she's graduated from San Francisco University of Art. She came to help me. So with that, in 2010, we established Toraja Melo, which means beautiful Toraja, because at that time we only planned to work in Toraja for Toraja women, about weaving and about farming and all that. And now, as what Cynthia said, fast forward now in 2021, we work in 5 areas. We've just added 5 more areas. We work with around 1,100 weavers towards 1,500, and we aim to work with about 5,000 weavers across Indonesia, mostly in East Indonesia, because we have criteria to work with communities. The first is that um, they are women they're women who out of poverty have to go away, leave the villages to work in the other island or abroad. Second is they have not been helped by the government or other NGOs or other organizations. And the third, of course, that they have art and culture of handloom weaving. So that's a little bit of background about Toraja Melo.
How did it become that you went from poverty, migration, weavers, and then creating a fashion line, that is in stores in Jakarta, etc., and increasingly, around many other places. I mean, it seems to me a bit like a jump. How did that all come together? And also to create a sustainable social enterprise where you can continue to give jobs to these women and to grow the number of weavers.
Going to system thinking, Cynthia, I was thinking about that too. Actually, maybe I give a little bit background, a little bit, yeah. So Toraja Melo started with a simple idea, but it is also with understanding because of maybe my life or my background as a banker and other things. I always try to analyze, and I understand that poverty doesn't exist in a vacuum like that, yeah. So there are factors, and I did my own, like I did my own research, reading. As you know, I love reading, and I came to my own conclusion that poverty in Indonesia is the result of at least three main issues. One is corruption. Corruption is so bad, as you know, in Indonesia, and that created poverty so bad. It's basically corrupt people takes the money that's supposed to go to other people, especially the poor. Yeah. So corruption is the first issue. Second is natural disasters. We live in a ring of fire. We have earthquake every day. We have volcanic eruptions almost every day. We have tsunami now and then. And lastly, like last April, we had like big cyclone. So we are living in a constant natural disasters, and more the natural disasters are created by human like. So it's like human induced natural disasters. So that's the second issue. And the third one is like the danger, but also impacting the lives of many is radicalization. Yeah, this is maybe a bit sensitive, but it's the Islam radicalization in Indonesia. It created discrimination. It created dangerous life for many, especially the indigenous non-Muslim people and women. So the poverty happened, and for that, it hit squarely to the rural women. Yeah, across Indonesia. So like the victims are rural women. And because of that, many of them have to become migrant workers. They go to countries like the closest is Malaysia, and then they go to Saudi Arabia, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong. There's a lot in Hong Kong. And that has created life imbalance. Yeah, life imbalance. Like sometimes I'm so angry when the Indonesian government says that they are our heroes. These migrant women are our heroes. Of course, they are heroes because they send money home. But what I've seen on the ground is the breakdown of the society, the breakdown of the families when the mothers leave. You cannot quantify that. So underlying what we are doing is we are trying to keep the mothers home so that they can take care of the children, because the breakdown resulting in drug, and then the children dropping out of school. And lastly, which again shocked me, even after working for so long in women issues and community issues, the problem. One of the last shocking problem was incest. Like I never thought of something like that. This is happening in Toraja in other places. So the background is like this: the poor people, they get married young, or they get married young, or they become pregnant young. Yeah, like that. So when they get married when they're 15, 17, and the men or the boys will be in late teenagers or early 20s. They get married, they have children, and then they plunge into poverty. And then either both of them leave their children in the village, or in the case of like, the children in the village. And they leave the children with the grandpa and grandma. And if you see the cycle, the grandpas will be men in their late 30s or early 40s. So apparently what has been happening was incest between grandpas who are in the early 40s with their granddaughters, because the mothers left home. So I just want to share with you that Toraja Melo is not only about weaving. Weaving or handloom weaving is only our entry point, but we are trying to help these women to get work, yes, to stay home because of these bigger issues. Going back to your question, Cynthia, yes, we approach it business-like, because again, from my finding when I travel around Indonesia as Secretary General, and also because I do scuba diving, so I travel a lot in the eastern part of Indonesia. I saw that the weaving or the product that they have, the color scheme, the quality, the size, are not according to what the market wants or needs or will buy. So there is the gap there. So Toraja Melo, in essence, tries to connect the community to the national and international markets. So with that, that's where my sister, as the fashion designer, comes in, and she trains the weavers about the color scheme. Like if you see what I'm wearing in my profile picture, it's actually an ikat weaving from Lambata, and this is the new color scheme without breaking the customary law. So we always try to respect the customary law. We don't break it, but where we can, we will try to make it into contemporary weaving product, and then make it into contemporary fashion product and homeware gifts and all that. So that's what we have been doing. It has not been easy. Sometimes we broke even, sometimes we lose money, but yeah, we are still here. And as we started to want to take off at the end of 2019, beginning 2020, then COVID-19 happened. I know we have to shift in this COVID-19 condition. We have to shift to digital marketing. We have to shift to work with the young people. We have to market to the millennials and Gen Z, and I'm not it. I know I'm not it. I actually, Cynthia, believe it or not, I hate social media. But I had to do it. Yeah. So I asked Aparna, who used to help us market our products in Singapore through Angels of Impact. And then she moved to Jakarta, and she was our volunteer for about 2 years. And then last year I asked her, would you like to become the CEO of Toraja Melo? Because I cannot take it to another level at the COVID-19 condition, at the digital marketing condition. I cannot. I know I cannot. Either I close it or you take it up. So she was brave enough. She said, yes, I'll do it. And then the Asian way, she flew her parents from Mumbai to meet me and her brothers from Dubai. And basically we had a family discussion, because this is just to ask for blessing from her parents that she will become a poor woman working for Toraja Melo, and not the logistic executive of Lazada that she was. You know, it's really crazy, but it's happening, and I'm a good friend still with her mother. We talk every day, and she keeps checking on me about her daughter. So yeah, Apana has taken over, and I hope I believe she will take Toraja Melo to another level, because the challenge is much bigger now. The lethal combination of COVID-19 and natural disaster and corruption, of course. The poverty, according to the government in Indonesia, goes back to at least 10 years, in most places 30 years. So yeah, I know it's bad statistic facts, but it's like that. Like people get hungry, and then why I was telling you why I then forced myself to travel. Actually, Aparna, the CEO, forced me to travel, and because we have to go to the destroyed villages, he said we have to visit them, we have to talk to them, we have to get data so that we can help them. We cannot do it from Jakarta. And so, even though both my children were upset, because she said they don't approve. They say we don't approve, Mama, but we know we cannot stop you. So we went. We try to be sensible. We tried, of course, to be careful, but we did visit. Yeah, we did visit Adonara and Lambata. You know, I'm still crying when I tell them, because really what we have done for almost 10 years, like destroyed in one night, because their villages were destroyed. And the leaders of the weavers, they died. They were washed off to the sea. It's really like sounds like a movie story, but it's real, and it's like, oh my God, you know, like what do we do? It took us almost 10 years to train a woman to become weaver coordinator, who understands about the need to change their motif, their color scheme, the quality, the deadline, and now they're gone. So we visited them, and one thing that then is one of the lesson learned when Apana and I came, to their temporary housing area. And again, we couldn't help it. They just came and hugged. We just hugged without like following the COVID-19 protocols. But this is one thing also work in the community. And they say, you know, of course we need money. But the fact that you cared and you came is more important than money. And I just like, you know, because I didn't think about that. So again, I thank Aparna for like thinking like that. Yeah. So it gives them spirit to restart their life. Yeah. So that's one of the major lesson learned from our trip. So I don't share everything, Cynthia, in the Instagram, because there are so many actually sad and difficult challenges. So I just share like more the happier stuff on Instagram. But yeah, but it's like that. And because of that spirit, you know, that makes me like, yeah, we have to continue. If they don't give up, we don't have the right to give up, sort of thing.
When we spoke the other day, Ibu Dini, you told me a little bit about Aparna, and I was very motivated because I want to find an Aparna. Tell us
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this. Tell us about this woman who's this young woman, and she gave up a highly paid job to become poor and work for Toraja Mello. I hope to inspire my team here. Can you tell us about her a little bit more?
Yeah, I think, well, I met her the first time, like I told you, in Singapore, right? When she was working for Angels of Impact, volunteering for angelsofImpact.com. But this is a girl who grew up in Mumbai. Her father is an academician. Her mother is a banker, actually. So quite well educated in Mumbai. But the I asked her, you know, I asked her, don't your parents ask you to get married, you know, like a typical Indian woman? I said, no, they never asked me to get married, or maybe they gave up already. So 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 she purposely, she said she went to this mechanical engineering faculty in Mumbai. She just wants to prove that a woman can do it. So I think it's from the beginning she's that crazy. She reminds me a bit like my daughter. My daughter is crazy like her too, like doing what they believe in, and money will come, you know, like that. It's not chasing money, but money will come. They will be okay, you know, that faith. So she did graduate, the only woman out of 300 students in the mechanical engineering. And then she started working in Mumbai, Singapore, and then Jakarta. And when I asked her why she wanted to join Toraja Melo, the first one was, she said, I did due diligence, she said, because I want to give back and I want to work for a social enterprise. And I did a due diligence on social enterprises in Indonesia, especially in Jakarta. And she said, many of them are fake, Mama. She called me Mama. Many of them are fake. They just claim they are social enterprise, but they're not. I said, yeah. And Toraja Melo is one, if not the only one, is one of very few that you are doing what you're saying. So I want to work with you. So I'm a bit backheaded hearing that, to tell you the truth, because I never did a due diligence on others. So that's one. And then the second one was, she said, when she worked for this e-commerce company, she feels she was making so much garbage. She keeps pushing people to buy, and she keeps producing garbage that she wants to give back. She wants to take care of Mother Earth. So she got it, like she got it. She says, we have to take care of Mother Earth, and I cannot keep selling. What she said? She asked me, "Do you know what is the most polluting product that we are selling?" She said. I said, "Oh, mobile phone." I said, "No, it's disposable diapers." So I didn't know that. But she said, I don't want to keep polluting the earth. So she wants to do it for in Toraja Melo, through Toraja Melo. And believe me, Cynthia, it's been, I thought I would relax after she comes in and become CEO and I can become the chairwoman. Now I work 24/7. She keeps pushing me to do more and more projects. And on top of that, she believes to save Mother Earth, we have to become vegan. And oh my God, I love pork. And she stops me from eating pork. And so so we are becoming, really, she said we have to walk the talk. So no, so all products will be vegan, no leather, and we have to eat vegan every Monday. And when I travel with her, we can only eat vegetables and all that. So she's very serious. She's very serious. But but don't be surprised if you get your wish. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Cynthia.
So
So there's
we'll
Aparna,
open to
yeah.
questions from everyone in a few minutes. Um, but I think you've woven, excuse the pun, a whole system for us, from corruption, man-made natural disasters, the radicalization, and then all the domino effect of the issues when victims are rural women, and then they migrate and family breaks down. What happens in the family? And then you came right back to talking about the April disaster that you had, and
Yeah.
then the kind of rebirth, if you like, of your weaving communities, and then Aparna, this young woman. Um, uh, I guess let's talk a little bit more, maybe unpack a little bit, um, uh, specifically about systems thinking in this process. I mean, did you and Aparna in your conversations, you know, is this do you have those discussions looking through the lens of systems? Is that in your is that in the language, if you like, of how how you approach things and how you answer your questions?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me try to answer, yeah, maybe not directly. But when I started in 2008, 2010, of course, it's just a simple thinking, yeah. It's connecting the community to the market, basically. And then, but because there is a long supply chain activities that we have to do, right? From the raw material to the production, to weaving, from weaving to become fashion product, gift products. It's a long journey because in again, so I guess we just did it, just do it, and then uh, how we find the solution, we do look at the factors, the context that we are in, yeah. So for example, when we work with the weavers and then they say and we tell them about that Toraja Melo color scheme, for example, like what you're wearing, Cynthia, there's like combination of pale blue color scheme, yeah, gradation. Those color scheme is not in the constellation of the mind of the Toraja weavers, for example, because they tend to weave like bright colors, the red, the yellow, the neon green, and all that. And then when we try to shift to this color scheme without breaking the customary law, I found out that actually the colors which are available are controlled by the yarn distributors. And and with that, we have to talk to the yarn distributors who are part of the big conglomeration who control what color we can get, basically. So we had to break that system. So again, when I want to be tough, I use my Chinese face, and and usually the merchants are Chinese, and I just tell them, hey, you are Chinese, I'm Chinese, I need these colors. Why don't you supply them to my weavers, type of thing? Because they are part like of a bigger like yarn mafia. Actually, there is a yarn mafia, and it's connected to the big suppliers of yarn in China and all that. So 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 that's so we have to break little by little, just to do weaving. So with that, so we try to find solution as we move along, and with that, we are developing of what we now find out that the name is that we are a social enterprise, because we never called ourselves a social enterprise. Other people call us social enterprise, and then we find out also about business model canvas, for example. So as we go along, we start filling out the business model canvas at the beginning. Now with Aparna on board, of course, we do business model canvas, business strategy, uh, while we are re-strategizing, for example. So it's from simple to systematical, and then going back to simple, and then going back to systematical. That has been our way of working, Cynthia and friends. Yeah. So it's like we make the
So
theory from what we are learning on the ground, something like that.
how are you thinking now, especially with Aparna on board? And you said she was with Lazada and the kinds of products that they sell. You probably know that the fashion industry is something like the second largest emitter in the world,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
polluter.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is clearly, I would say that it's more slow fashion than fast fashion. How what is that conversation like with you and Aparna and your larger team around sustainable fashion?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Discussion with Apana can be so heated. It's and thank God it's like mother and daughter. Yeah, it's that we have heated discussion that other staff members and sometimes our clients like they run away, and but while Apana and I, we will hug and kiss and we will be fine. It's like that intense, because the good thing is we respect each other, yeah, and maybe that's the Asian way, I don't know. I mean, yeah, we respect each other and we respect each other's opinion. And in fact, this morning we had another heated discussion, but we always try to align. I'm bringing to the table the experience and the past and my knowledge about the community and weaving, and Apana brings what can be done now and into the future. Uh, and I and we try to combine that. So, when we don't agree, we really sit down and talk. For example, um, we have been doing a mixture of cotton and polyester, and also leather, for example. And Aparna, with her belief for sustainable fashion, she does not want to do leather, and she doesn't want to do polyester, for example, like that. So we wipe out polyester from our product line and leather, and that is not easy because fake leather. So we will come to discussion. What about fake leather? It may be also made from plastic and things like that. So we try now to really to go to be able to trace our products, and also to go, what do you call it, yeah, we go upstream. We go upstream. We have started to have our own cotton plantation with the weavers, for example. We have started doing it, and now many people are coming on board, because this is something shocking also. Apparently we imported 99% of our yarn or yarn materials, cotton, polyester, from China, from India, and Egypt and all that. And with COVID-19, now most yarn factories here don't have raw material. And suddenly, our cotton farm, which is only like 7 hectares, it's our demonstration plot in Lembata, has become the only raw material for cotton in Indonesia. It becomes so crazy now, and everybody is after us. While the farmers, who are actually our weavers also, they just went through volcanic eruptions. They just went through the cyclone. So That's one thing that we are trying to find solutions and how to make the cotton farm like bigger, faster, without making the farmers and the weavers as like employees. They are the bosses. They are the members of the cotton farm cooperatives. So I hope I answered your question. So it's like back and forth and one disaster after another. That's on top of Cynthia. Also, one thing I learned is don't romanticize poor people. There are good poor people, there are bad poor people, there are good rich people, there are bad rich people. Okay, we have gone through also embezzlement, faking documents, corruptions. We have gone through that. So we still have to be very strict and not like oh, you're poor so you're kind. No. There are some really bad ones, and we have gone through that.
Selamat sore, Bu.
Halo, selamat sore.
Bu, I would like to ask you, yang tadinya Ibu bilang dulunya normal thinking. So, can you share with us what is your experience or tantangan to adapt to the system thinking? Terima kasih, Bu.
Okay. System thinking, I think like maybe I don't approach it as, oh, I have to think systematically, but I think this is also confirmed by Aparna, yeah, that we do and I do things systematically. Maybe it's because I was a banker before. I have to analyze. I have to think like systematically, but I have to admit a lot of it comes from like really experience on the ground, working with the community, to think about the overall issues and not only partially, yeah, like that. Maybe I can share a story. Maybe I hope it can answer, yeah. A story in Toraja, for example. Toraja as an indigenous community, despite them having becoming Christian in the early 1900s, they basically still follow their ancestors' belief, their ancestors' religion. Maybe like the Dayak in Kalimantan, like that. And with that comes the social structure. Okay, there is nobility, free people, and then the slaves, things like that. I have to work in that context. So I have to strategize. I cannot ignore that. I don't believe in the strata, yeah, because I believe everybody is equal. But I work in that context. So, for example, I strategize then. Because my mother-in-law, my husband also said they were against me when I started in Toraja, because they said, do you know what level you are? Do you know what kind of family we are? I said, yeah. I said, what do you mean? I said, do you know that we are not even gold class? We are double platinum class. And you are mixed in with the slaves. That embarrassed us, So in that context, because I kept on pushing, then I used my double platinum class to work with the slave level, so that they listen to me, because they will not listen if somebody who tells them are from the slave class, for example. So I strategize that way. So I learn from what's happening on the ground to make systemic strategy, maybe, yeah. I'm just trying to answer your question. And then in Toraja, for example, we have a lot of ceremonies, funeral ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, house building ceremonies. And in each ceremony, you are expected to bring a pig or a buffalo, a certain type of buffalo. Would you believe in Toraja there are buffaloes that cost $100,000 because of the colors and the size? So most people here work so that they can bring a buffalo or a pig to a ceremony, and that will bring their status up. It's like maybe you're driving a Mercedes Benz, maybe if you want to do it like that, you know, if they carry a certain buffalo or a certain size pig. And this is what I learned when journalist interviewed one of our weavers leaders in Toraja when she was asked, and I wasn't there. I saw the recording because the journalist showed me the recording afterwards. And she was asked, she's the head of the cooperative. She was asked, what is the difference before Toraja Melo and after Toraja Melo? And her answer was like, it really touched me. She said, I'm a widow, I'm a poor widow, I'm of a low class. And I have one daughter. People used to laugh at me because I cannot bring a pig to every ceremony. After Toraja Melo training, I can sell my weaving. I earn 5 million rupiah per month now, and I can bring a pig to every ceremony. Now I can walk straight. I'm not ashamed anymore. And I was like, oh, you know, so it's about dignity. So again, so with that learning, that knowledge, then we strategize based on that. So what is important for these women then? And it's different. It's different for every community. It's different for Toraja, it's different for Adonara, it's different for Lembata, it's different for Kupang, it's different for a village in Flores. So again, I think that the moving from learning what's happening on the ground to making a systemic way of thinking, to make a thesis out of it. It goes back and forth.
What are your success stories? Do you document the traditional designs of your crafts for reference purposes? So 2 questions. Success stories. I think you shared one already. And do you document traditional designs of your crafts?
Yeah. Success stories. I think one of them, you're right, Cynthia. One of them is about the dignity of the women. And I actually never thought about, okay, the strategy is to return the dignity of the poor rural women. But then it happened. Yeah, to me that was a success. And then another success story. Actually, to tell you the truth, we have more failures than success. Yeah, Jennifer. That is proven in our 5th book. Yes, we do document our work and the crafts or the motifs and techniques, and we also write the process stories with the weavers. The last book that I co-wrote with my partner from the community organization, Nani, was actually, we plan to title it is how to become a successful community-based social enterprise. And then as we were sitting down for 2 weeks together, as we wrote our journey, it becomes how to fail as a community-based social enterprise. We had we just laugh because we failed here. Oh, we failed again, and we almost gave up. And then in the end, Nani and I just look at each other. And then, so what do we get out of this? We don't become richer. And then her answer, I said, wow. And she said, the result, the output is our friendship and the spiritual learning that we have received or experienced along the way. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know how to. Yeah, I hope that answers. So we have more failures, but also Nani says, and the fact that even after all these years, we still haven't given up. We are still here. So maybe that's the success, that we still exist. I think that's a success of its own. That's the conclusion.
purchase your books? Jennifer is asking.
Yeah. You can go to our website, or you can WhatsApp. Yeah, there is a contact. Yeah, that you can contact in the Toraja Melo website. We are still also updating our website, and it's it's bilingual. Yeah, Bahasa Indonesia and English.
So can you share some of the system complexity that you experienced in your journey, and how did you deal with it?
Okay, this is a big question. System complexity, I think it's layered. Yeah, I hope I got it right. Yeah, it's layered. Uh, for example, it's about complexity in on the ground, in the community level. Even in the community level, they are layered, because we have to face customary law. Yeah, customary law for these indigenous women, and then we have to face the local government law. Okay, and then when we work in at national level, we have to deal with the national government, and then also a business people, because even though we are social enterprise, our competitors and the way the business that we have to do, we compete with normal business, right? uh, we cannot say like, yeah, we are social enterprise, blah blah blah, so please buy our product. We cannot do that. So uh, that's another layer. And then at international level, again, there are other layers of complexity. For example, how to export, to the rules of exporting to for example, to Japan and to America is different. The taste is different. The rules and regulations are different. So how do we deal with it? We just do it. Yeah, we just do it. And again, sometimes we fail, sometimes we make it. um Let me give you a sample. For example, now, uh after the disaster, the cyclone, we have been fundraising to rebuild the houses of the weavers. But then we found out that the government wants to relocate them to another piece of land. And then this other piece of land is, because there is no certification in the villages. And we cannot build as for our report and our responsibility to the donors. We cannot just build houses without the legal paper of the land, for example. So with this, we have to deal with the customary law, with the local government, and even with the donors and with people who help us. So that's the latest challenge that we are still facing now, and we are trying to find the solution. And then what else? Creating, I think I have shared with you, yeah, creating products that can be sold to Japan, for example. The This is pre-COVID, yeah, because post-COVID we haven't started selling to Japan. Pre-COVID, the quality, the standard for Japan, and then pricing, like that. And then we have to talk to the government, with the Ministry of Trade, for example, to support us to sell to Japan, and then the Ministry of Tourism to help us to work for the community-based tourism that we are doing with the weavers, for example. So it's all layered. But if you ask how we do it, we just do it and face them. And I do a combination of being sweet and being a peach, basically. And Apana is doing it more or less the same way. I hope that answers your question, Winnie. Yeah.
Do you have many young artisans? How do
Mhm.
you get them to be interested in making crafts?
Okay, good, good. Regeneration, both in the community and in the market, meaning selling to the young, is part of our strategies. That's why we created cooperatives in our communities, so that so that the master weavers, who are mostly older ladies, older women, can share their knowledge to the young. So again, it's the challenges are layered. One is weaving is considered as is heritage from family to family or clan to clan. So it wasn't easy to transfer the knowledge from one clan to another. Okay, so that's one. So for example, we face these two older women 10 years ago who weave this beautiful motif. Um, and when I asked them to teach the younger generation, she refused because her daughters are in Malaysia working, and she did not want to teach other family members or the daughters of other families, because it's family secret, for example. uh, how do we solve this problem is when we created the cooperative with the we first membership, then we make them feel, we force them to feel that they're one family and one we first cooperative. Then the older generation started teaching the younger members. That's one. But at the end of the day, it's about money. So we have to show the young that they can make money by staying home, by weaving. And with that, when we do training, we have to make sure that we can buy their products at the beginning, because now later other people's, other organizations, other companies have started buying from the weavers that we have trained. But at the beginning, we burn a lot of money actually by buying the products of the older generation and the young generation when they're practicing. When they see the money, they will start learning to weave. And one story is in one of our books of this girl who started learning weaving from her mother, and then she can sell her weaving and she can start paying her university degree with the money she makes. And in one occasion, we took her to Jakarta to do demonstration weaving in one of our exhibitions. And when she came, and always they ask for a proof. This is one thing I learned also. As a proof that they've been to Jakarta, we have to take a photo of them in front of the statues and the fountain in Jakarta as a proof that they were in Jakarta. Maybe it's a bit like when we go to Singapore, take picture, and then in Kuala Lumpur, we take a picture in front of the Twin Towers, something like that. It's the same with them. So when she went home, apparently her friends in the university asked her, why did you go to Jakarta? And she said, to show that I can weave. And they said, huh? Weaving can bring you to Jakarta? Yeah. And it's very interesting. Then several of her friends started learning to weave and started making money. So again, that's the practicality of it. You know, if you can show them that money is coming, then even the young generation, the young artisan will start doing that.
I want to ask you, Ibu Dinny, you talked earlier about the three things: corruption, which leads to poverty, the man-made natural disasters, and radicalization, particularly religious radicalization. I mean, these are systemic things. Uh, how how do you keep the space open for what Toraja Mello is doing, for what it envisions for the future for women and families? How do you keep it open and not shut down by these realities?
Um, yeah. Okay, let me try also. I think it depends on the young again. Yeah, demographically, Indonesia 70% of our population are young. So that gives us opportunity, but also challenge. And with that also comes IT. Yeah. So I feel that's why we need to digitalize. We need to use technology to support our work. For example, Apana is working on it. On the business side, for example, Apana now works with people virtually who are part of our team. They come from all over the world. It's like in 1 year, she has about 15 people, young people from Toronto, from Portugal, from Singapore, from San Francisco, and she manages them. And I don't think I can. Okay. So this IT, virtual digitalization, whatever you call it, I think will connect us to work faster and at bigger scope to go to the market. So that is like one side, because we have to scale up our business as we are growing our partnership, yeah, with the communities. So that's one side. On the other side, we need to do like what the Jennifer's question about. We need to involve the young in the communities, so that they can communicate digitally, they can share their product digitally. For example, now Apana is doing IT training to the young weavers. Yeah, we cannot really train the older ones, so we have a kind of pairing the older and the younger, so that they can send by WhatsApp. Even Apana now is forcing the weavers to learn Google Drive and all that. It's so crazy, and they're learning it, working with the young, so to upload their products, to upload data to our system, so that we can work faster. And we also work, yeah, Apana started establishing to work with logistic companies, for example, because one of the biggest challenges to working in Indonesia is about logistic. The logistic cost is very high because we are big countries and it's not very efficient, yeah, and economical. So we have gone into partnership with several logistic companies, for example, and they work with us. They pick the weaving from the villages of the weavers, so that they can send the weaving faster from the villages into the main town, then to Jakarta. So I guess to summarize it, it's about working systematically with IT and with collaboration. And corruption, Cynthia, we have put some people in jail, and then, I mean, if they if they use our organization, or they use our weavers for their corrupt activities, we have put people in jail, just to give sample, because the how do you call it, the moral level in Indonesia is so low, because they see how the big people, how the leaders are corrupt. So for example, a weaver, senior weaver, use Toraja Melo name to work with a government official and by making a fake proposal, faking the signatures of the weavers to get about 250 million or something. We put them in jail. It was a 10 years work, but 2 years ago we put them in jail, and it almost broke down my family, actually my husband's family, and because it involved their, you know how in the communities everybody is connected by marriage or by blood, but we have to show sample that if you're not honest and you're using our name, you better go to jail. You know, it's with that comes life threats and all that. So it's not only about weaving.
So from Jennifer, what do you think is the most important thing the government can do to help the sustainability of indigenous craft?
Okay, okay, okay. Uh, I have high hope on our present president. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he is, I think, the first president who really works hard and care about the people. He's kind. Yeah, I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's kind and he has really serious intention to help the people. Uh, that's one. So with that, he actually has created, and even during COVID-19, several programs and several government ministries to help the indigenous or national heritage of Indonesian crafts, arts and crafts. So he has appointed several ministers, and Toraja Melo is heavily involved in some of the projects because I see that this is a good intention. And one big program is called Bangga Buatan Indonesia, or being proud of Indonesian products. And that is joined between Ministry of Cooperative and the business side of the Ministry of Cooperative. So that is one. So it's the channel to market. That is one program of the government. And then another good program is a program to help the micro and small and medium enterprises. The government is doing that. And another one is, of course, finance. Because again, learning from what we have been doing, there are three major problems for community artisans or grassroots artisans. One is access to raw materials. For weaving is access to a yarn. Second problem is availability of working capital. They never have enough money to buy the yarn or to do marketing, so called. And the third one is, of course, maybe everybody knows, is access to market. So those three basic problems, access to raw materials, access to working capital, access to market, are the basic problems. And I think Indonesian government at this stage during COVID-19 are doing quite a good job, steered by the Ministry of Cooperative.
Saya mau tanya,
Okay. Yeah.
in the near future, is there a possibility for Toraja Melo being handled by the farmers or the weavers themselves? Or is it part of the plan currently kah atau macam mana?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there are several approaches. And for that we did research, and actually we did a trip. How to handle this, because some people or some organizations then make the weavers as shareholders, for example, out of good intention. And then people always say, how much of your profit is given back to the community? I think this is the old ways of doing things. While you make a profitable company and then you do your CSR, because our time now is beyond CSR. It's even beyond creating values. It's a social enterprise for me, or social business is the answer. So for me, like the whole being of Toraja Melo, as what people call as social enterprise, is for the good of the community of our partners. We are not here to make profit for us. Break even, yes, so that we can continue replicating our system. So that's one. And for that, actually, we did a research trip to India. And why India? Because India has the richness, the diversity of arts and artisans that no other I think no other countries can have. Yeah, this is from myself, because we thought about Thailand, we thought about Japan. No, Thailand is too small. Japan is very how do you call it, monoculture. Yeah. While India, like Indonesia, we have hundreds of ethnic groups. We have thousands, maybe, like arts and crafts. So we did a trip. We went to companies, organizations in India, basically in Rajasthan, Gujarat, New Delhi area, to talk to these organizations, companies. And the answer that came back was like, it's better to separate the business side and the communities. Because, for example, FAB India, yeah? FAB India, because I talked to them, I talked to the senior people in India. They tried out of good intention to make the artisans their shareholders. It didn't work, it didn't work, it did create a problem. So they went back. So the artisans with their organizations or individually, and FAB India will do conscious capitalist way of doing business, for example. So that's what they share. So with Toraja Melo, actually what we have been doing now is we do our training, we do the capacity building to the community, we do awareness campaign, we do marketing. But 6 months after they design or they weave Toraja Melo products, they can sell that to anybody, to other people, to other companies. Yeah, some people don't agree with our approach, but that has been what we are doing. And for example, in Toraja now, they know that Toraja Melo color scheme, the Toraja Melo motif combination will sell more, will sell better rather than what they used to do. So even when they go to the yarn shop, now they just say, we want a combination of Toraja Melo color for 2020 or 2021, for example. And we let them. And then we move. So Toraja, basically, we are not working in Toraja anymore. Now our relationship is like buying and selling, straight business with the weavers. We move to other areas which are still poor and not helped. So that's the way we work.
That's very helpful, Ibu Dinny. Also, as we think about what we're going to do with our paddy revitalization project here, and what is the relationship between the farmers and Forever Saba.
Yeah.
There are many.
Yeah.
I see that Yana is very interested in the term conscious capitalism, but actually there are many resources you can find about these things. Some people call it sacred commerce. There are many different kinds of terminology meaning something similar. So capitalism isn't always outright evil. It is how you practice it and with what consciousness, what intention. Okay, I think anyone else? Ibu Dinny, you have any final words for us as we go into 2 days of discussing systems thinking? Tomorrow we talk to Bjorn about Edible Garden City and his work. Any closing wisdom?
Closing wisdom. For me, it's always like just do it, and this is something that I share with my children too. Like when you just do it, but when you want to do something, listen to your heart, and then use your brain, but then go back to listening to your heart. And I've been practicing that too, like combining like logic and gut feel. Because now, now we are widening our partnership with Apanas, under Apanas leadership, and it's very interesting how more and more people answer that when I ask why do you want to partner with us, like with Toraja Melo, and the answer is it feels right in my heart, and I felt so it is happening. So yeah. Use your logic, listen to your heart, use your logic, and listen to your heart again. I think that would be as IT is taking as IT is taking over our life. I think this will be needed more and more.
Beautiful. Well, I just want to report to you that your heart is has reached our hearts here in Sabah, and we thank you deeply from the bottom of our hearts.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih also
Huge
for
clap.
having me. Thank you, thank you. Okay.
Claps
So
here, and then from those online as well. Thank you, Ibu Dinny. Thank
terima
you.
kasih. Take care. Stay
Stay
safe.
safe.
Stay
Bye-bye.
healthy. Yeah. Bye bye. Bye bye.